there is the coronavirus.
Interesting.
And I find this coronavirus very fascinating because, number one, it exposes a weakness, an authoritarian regime that is curtailing the virus by isolating it.
Yes.
But by isolating it, you are stopping the movement of millions of people. You're not only stopping the movement of millions of people, you are stopping the movements of millions and millions and millions of dollars of merchandise.
Yeah.
So this does not affect people only, it affects the entire economy. It affects imports. And the way in which the government, in its stance, is treating the people is leading to dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
I don't know how many videos I've received of incredibly upset Chinese people as to their freedoms having been taken away. They are strangled, they cannot live under those circumstances anymore, and this is causing tremendous pressure. And I'm wondering if this is part of the agenda or not. I don't want to be labeled a conspiracist, although I think it's a little bit late for that.
Yeah, that's true, but elaborate a little bit more.
Yes, in 2017 they brought out a cartoon, as it were, of the games, and you had the great leader Caesar pronouncing the games open, and the great hero supposedly was from Rome, and his name was Coronavirus. And that was in 2017, when there was no talk about any of these things, right? 2.3%. And the death rate on a normal flu is much lower than that. But because a normal flu hits the entire world, the death rate is, from a normal flu, very much higher because of the number of people involved than in the case of the coronavirus. So it is killing far fewer people than the normal flu, generally speaking, at this stage. It can also come to an abrupt end, and then that fear will be away. But what is the backlash? The economy has received a knock. Exports have received a knock. For example, the farmers in all these quarantine areas and in these cities that have been closed, you have these massive chicken farms, for example. Yes. Now they're sitting with all these chickens. What are they going to do with them? They can't export them because the trucks and the trains that come and take these things away are no longer allowed to do this. So the only thing they can do is to kill them all.
Yes.
So they're slaughtering millions and millions and millions of animals without the means of creating an economy which is sustainable. In other words, they're saying there will be massive food shortages. And because of the export market, that will ripple over to the entire world. And I find it fascinating that not only were there predictions regarding this coronavirus, supposedly scientists wrote books many years ago predicting that this would happen. The date, which was 2020. That is just one side of the issue. The other issue is the response of the governments. I find it fascinating that in the United States, the media is saying, or at least some in the media are saying, that this thing is blown out of all proportions, because basically most of the people get over the virus by being at home and recovering by themselves, and far more people die, as we've already discussed, with the normal flu. And why is there such a dramatic response? And the right is blaming the left for alarmist attitudes. And What is even more interesting to me is the response of Italy now, for example, quarantining 16 million people, closing off cities, closing off, the economic hub of the world, Milan and Venice and other areas, and telling them that they may only shop in the malls. This is very strange. They may only shop in the malls in the week, but not over the weekends.
Yes.
And then only up until 6 and not after 6. Now, that is very strange. Does this virus only attack after 6 o'clock in the afternoon and only on weekends? Or is this perhaps a lockdown strategy? One doesn't want to go into speculations and conspiracy theories, but be that as it may, the Bible tells us that there will come a time when you will not be able to buy or sell. Someone in a city. If you take the cities of the world, you just cut off the main routes, and within minutes there is a lockdown. And you will not be able to buy and sell, and you will be controlled completely by the government. Now, what is also fascinating, they were saying there wasn't much of a patrol in these lockdowns. Now, what do the authorities do to enforce such a lockdown? Are the authorities or those responsible for enforcing it, are they immune to the virus? Or does a plastic jacket protect them from the virus and no one else?
Yeah.
So there are a couple of things there which just do not quite ring true. Nevertheless, whether it is real or perceived is irrelevant. What is the consequence? And do we see the biblical events unfolding? And I believe we are. If all of this is heading. And in order to make it fit into a short time frame, you have to have magnitudes of calamities. So the more the calamities increase, the more the pressure increase to introduce these things. And because we're all interconnected and all need to work together on these issues, eventually they will say, enough already. Peace and goodwill to all men. Peace, peace. We will live side by side. We will not attack each other anymore. You can believe what you believe, as long as your belief does not interfere with this common good of fraternity. And there goes the Gospel Commission.
Yeah.
And if you dare to continue with your Gospel Commission, eventually you will become the enemy that interferes with an accepted norm that has become central to the peace initiative of the world. The word is peace. Peace, peace, and then
Sudden destruction.
Sudden destruction. I believe that these...
Shabbat shalom, everyone. All praise to the Most High Yahuwah Elohim, through the spirit of Yahushua Mashiach. This is your boy, your friend, your brother, French the West African Yashra. So this topic, I'm just going to give you my thoughts on this coronavirus thing. One thing I like to say is New World Order. Yeah? So, we didn't really speak about it, and I wasn't even reading on my YouTube channel like that lately. But, after examining what everybody had to say about it, I kind of come to a small conclusion of things. It's just speculation. I don't really like to speculate most of the time. Okay? Especially when it comes to scriptures. But when it comes to the things that these devils at the top doing, obviously, there is always room for speculation. So, as you watched the video before that I was playing, my thoughts on it is that I'm kind of confused with what's going on. So, to be honest with y'all, I see a thing where, one, it could be extremely true. the coronavirus is really there. It's affecting people, and people are dying and all that stuff. That's one. Or two, it could be a setup. People are just lying. They're making this up. Actors and all this stuff, and it's not even real. And the media is hyping up everybody and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the third one, well, it could be a mix of both, and which I think is actually what's going on. That it's not that the virus is fake, but it's true. But then they deciding who they want to contaminate and stuff like that, certain areas or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously, I truly believe that the government is behind all of that. You know what I'm saying? If not the government, these devils at the top, whatever you want to call them, in the Illuminati, Freemasons, and all of this stuff. Yeah. So, yeah. For now, there's very little to know about coronavirus. All I know is that I think it affects the respiratory system and stuff like that. All of them things. But what's most what is most interesting about it, and what I think people should focus on, is that the things that's going to happen in the world. You know what I'm saying? Because as I always say, the world is changing. Regardless of what's going on, regardless of the events, the world is changing, and all of these things that are happening, they're slowly and gradually leading us to some event that will change and shape our realities in a different way that is has ever been. You know what I'm saying? So what I would recommend people, stop the hype. Like, oh, it's Revelation and then it's the end now. You know what I'm saying? Because like y'all been on that in 2000. Y'all was saying, oh, it's the end, Jesus is gonna come and all that stuff. Now we're in 2020, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, so like, I think that people are believers or whoever, like, you know what I'm saying, Hebrews or whatever you want to call yourself, truthers or whatever, like, I think that we should stop the hype, and then we should be just like watching, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always have like people still to watch whatever any major event happens. That's why I should tell people, because we trust in the Most High in the first place, and then we believe we should see all of these things as biblical prophecies. You know what I'm saying? Or scriptural prophecies, or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's it. My thoughts on it. I just want to give y'all the word anyway. Yeah. So let me know what y'all think about this coronavirus thing. Comment section. Yeah, and peace and Shabbat shalom.